That right there was a spotlight on the talent of John Hunter Nemechek.
We've been fast every single week, so hopefully we have a really strong playoff run to the Final Four and try and go win a championship.
Heck yeah! That's what I'm talking about!
We want to go back to Phoenix.
Man, this guy is good.
Hell of a job there.
I just feel like I have a lot of confidence.
We did it, baby. Hell yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Nice job. Nice job. Yeah!
And welcome to Watkins Glen as we get ready for Xfinity Series practice and qualifying. Such a beautiful setting and the weather perfect for today's practice qualifying. And a little bit later we will be racing here at the Glen. Want to look at the point standings, Steve, as we get ready for this practice session to get underway. You see at the top, Nemechek, Hill, and Allgaier. Those three are fighting for regular season championship. Then down at the cut line, we've got guys fighting for position to get in the playoffs. It seems like there's a lot of battles within the larger battle.
Yeah, there's a lot of battles going on at now what will be the last road course of the regular season. 4 races, including this one, until this playoff field is set. And if you're Parker Kligerman at -17, you probably wish there was more road courses. He seems to be excelling there. Right behind him, though, Brandon Jones in that 9 car. He can't wait to get to Daytona, Darlington, and Kansas that ends the regular season. So everyone sees road courses differently. Some is an opportunity, some is a challenge. And of all road courses, this is it. This is the super speedway of road courses. Super fast, high speed, 7 corners. Great racing here in the Glen.
Yeah, you brought up a great point there. Remember, Xfinity Series, there are 4 races to go before the playoffs get underway. We will be doing this one radio style, which means that our good friend Mike Bagley will be right outside of turn 3 there in the S's, calling all the action as they go down the backstretch. They'll go through the inner loop to Dale Earnhardt Jr., who will then call them through the carousel, hand off to Jeff Burton, who has them through 6. He will then call them through 7 and hand them back off to Steve and I here at the start-finish line. And looking forward to doing that multiple times, 82 times, as a matter of fact, today during the race. Want to check in with the bag man, MRN's and Sirius XM, Mike Bagley there in the S's. Mike.
Rick, good morning, and welcome to the S's. We're getting set to go for a great weekend of racing. NASCAR Xfinity Series up first, and the S's at Watkins Glen, always a challenge because you start at the lowest portion of the road course and you climb to the highest in this very unique set of turns. At the top of your screen, you saw turn 2. You're looking back to turn 3 right now. That's where the cars will crest the hill and then make their way over the tunnel into turn 4. That'll lead them to a very high-speed portion of Watkins Glen known as the back straightaway, and that backstretch is punctuated by a unique set of corners, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. is there.
Rick, you said the weather was perfect, but there is a very heavy wind. It's got to be at least 25-mile-an-hour gusts, 30-mile-an-hour gusts today. That's going to play havoc for the drivers, especially in these high-speed sections of the racetrack. Coming into the bus stop, we're going to watch these drivers argue over positions, go side by side into the bus stop. That's always going to usually end poorly for somebody, if not both drivers. And if you can't get through that area just right, you're on the defense coming into the carousel. This carousel is very tricky. It's downhill and sort of a corkscrew, if you will. And if you get offline there, you're definitely going to be challenged for passes off of that corner and headed down a long straightaway toward turn 6 where Jeff Burton is.
Yeah, you said that long straightaway. They are rolling when they come to turn 6. There's a lot of speed and opportunity because of that high speed to outbrake someone into turn 6, get alongside of them, just use tons of brake. And then on the exit of 6, there's a lot of runoff. So if you want to use the guy up, you can move him up the racetrack, push him off into the runoff off turn 6. You didn't put him in jeopardy of wrecking. You just took the racetrack from him. And then turn 7 is so important. It's a slow corner, but it's momentum. If you don't carry the momentum off turn 7, then you don't have speed down the front straightaway, and again, another braking zone. So a fun, action-packed part of the racetrack over here.
And we see the 19 rocketing down the front stretch now as practice underway, and back behind the wheel again is Ty Gibbs. He has had great success last race out at Indianapolis. He was able to find victory lane, a big celebration there. He and his mother kissing the bricks at the end of that race. And it was something where the family, I think, was appreciative of the successes and the opportunities that Ty Gibbs has had. Of course, his father passing away just after they won the championship in Phoenix last year. And so it was good that they could celebrate the wins here in the Xfinity Series, and once again back on track, and probably one of the favorites, Steve, as we look at this Xfinity Series lineup.
Oh yeah, he has to be a favorite. I mean, I really think the Cup guys in this race are always going to be the favorites, Ty Gibbs being one of them. And just the pace in Indianapolis was the most impressive part, right? It was just sheer speed. This is going to be frustrating for Ty right here to have all this traffic. You know, I don't think anyone's like really in his way, but it's just, well, right there, that's not the entry he's going to want to that corner. That's a shallow entry to the bottom of the racetrack, and now he's off turn 7, and there's basically a lap at Watkins Glen down the front stretch into this downhill braking zone, which makes it even tougher because it unloads the rear tires. What makes it a little easier is this runoff on driver's left as he enters the S's.
Stevie, as you talk about him leaving turn 1, that downhill run continues to turn 2. That's where Ty is right now. He's climbing the hill. This is turn 3, the left-hander, and then he'll meander over into a right-hand sweeper, but he is full speed. He is max throttle. Dale Jr. now he's got to woe the car down for the inner loop.
Yeah, the inner loop's getting quite dirty. A lot of cars getting offline. You use a lot of curb, if not the entire curb, as you see the 19 is going to go straight through. That tells me that he's done with his lap. He's going to come back to pit road. But as we see a lot of cars coming through the inner loop, a lot of dirt being swept up out from the grass area. These cars getting all the way across the curb into the grass already.
A little bit of frustration from Ty Gibbs right there. You know, you want to lay a clean lap time down. You want to see where you are on speed, but just not able to do it with all these cars. You can see he's catching them. Now he's entered in turn 7 underneath the 44. Stephen Parsons, and he continues the lap. He just was looking to get some clean air. Not sure NASCAR is going to like him running through that runoff area where you were, Junior. You're supposed to stop when you run up through there.
Yeah, in race conditions, he'll have to do that. But in this situation, I think he's trying to find some clean racetrack. But there's just cars all around this track right now, and so he hasn't been able to find anything clean, Baggy.
Yeah, right now he's exiting turn 3 after having made the pass on Joe Graff Jr. That was an aggressive move to the outside, but it didn't stop him any. Matter of fact, he made that pass, and he is still on pace right now.
A lot of race cars in front of him, a lot of traffic he'll have to continue to deal with as he goes through the bus stop. This is the curb that the cars are getting off the racetrack and bringing a lot of dirt onto the racetrack, exiting the bus stop as they go down into the carousel. That's going to make things pretty slick and tricky early here in practice.
No question, track is a little bit dirty. Look at the lap time, though. Justin Allgaier, the fastest driver on track right now by almost a second over Kyle Busch. That is what Ty Gibbs was wanting to do. He never had clean racetrack. He cannot compare himself to see where he is on speed because he does not have clean.
So Ty Gibbs, as we mentioned, running through a little bit of traffic on the track, but Allgaier posting a great lap at 1:12.19, or just over 72 seconds for his lap. Nemechek almost equaling it. And when we talk about Nemechek, you also have to enter with Austin Hill, who has had great success this year. He's one of the drivers that's battling for the regular season championship, Maggie.
Yeah, he's down by 11 coming into this race. This is going to be one of the battles that we'll be keeping tabs on later this afternoon. What can Austin Hill do to keep it, but also what can John Hunter Nemechek do to carve into that 11-point advantage that Austin has coming into this race today?
There he misses the bus stop. Now he's going to do the right thing here, going to come to a stop. And I really like this. Not that he missed it, but I like the fact that he's trying that hard. When you come out here and you have very limited time on this racetrack, you want your driver to go out there and really make the mistakes. Go ahead and push the car too far in all of the braking zones. There's lots of runoff here, lots of good safe places to get to. So you want your driver to find those limits right now, Kim.
And I talked with Austin Hill before he jumped in the car, and he said he and John Hunter are pretty well matched this racetrack. But Austin also talked about the bigger picture. He said he felt like they were at the cusp of winning on a road course in terms of RCR as an organization, but they just were missing a little bit. And as we talk about the Cup guys in this field, there are benefits to that. And RCR has a benefit in Kyle Busch running a Kaulig car. They are an affiliate team, and Austin told me they're going to use Kyle as a barometer. If he's able to come out here and just do amazing things, then that will send RCR back to the drawing board, trying to figure out what they need to do to improve their road course program, break through, and get that first road course win for either he or Sheldon Creed.
Austin Hill right now practicing some patience, and probably something that'll have to tap into during the course of the race. Getting used to being around lap traffic in certain parts of this racetrack. He has cleared that traffic heading into the bus stop.
See how he uses all that curb. The first curb, you have to really climb all over the top of it. You basically try to straighten out the bus stop. Now down here in the carousel, you do not want to get on that curb. That's going to take a lot of traction away from the inside tires. Look how much racetrack they use on corner exit. They started doing this over the last several years, exiting turn 1, exiting the carousel, even here in 6, using a lot of racetrack coming off these corners.
Yeah, it's very interesting watching drivers evolve with the racetrack. They have all this runoff, so you have to use it. If you're not willing to use all the racetrack on a road course, you're giving up speed.
Contract extension, the big news for Austin Hill this week. He will be with RCR, and that's great news for him. I'm sure puts his mind at ease. Drift back a little bit to the 19 of Ty Gibbs again. He's utilizing a lot of the area off track. There's Allgaier coming up into the screen in 7.
Justin Allgaier and others taking advantage of that wide runoff area in turn 1. You want to nail these S's as precise as possible. If you don't, you can scrub up a lot of speed. But now here's Justin going to negotiate some traffic in the bus stop.
And this area right here, we see the drivers try to go through their single file. They're now, just like we talked about using a lot of racetrack on corner exit, now they're racing into the bus stop side by side. You would never do that, but now drivers, the etiquette's changed. Drivers now race each other into the bus stop, and it creates a lot of problems in the race.
Yeah, it really does. And if you're gonna win this race, you're gonna have to be aggressive.
We got spin over here. Yep, the one car. Sam Mayer's turned his car around. Harmless spin. I think he got into the carousel a little hot. Car gets loose, spins around. Very lucky to stay out of the tire barrier there. When you usually get in trouble entering this carousel, you end up in the tires. But you can see him standing in the throttle. All that smoke is from standing in the throttle there, keeping that car from backing across the racetrack. Luckily, everybody behind him is going to be able to avoid. He'll have to come to pit road and get that roof flap fixed, and they'll be able to continue. No damage to the car. And again, I mean, that's pushing it a little bit too hard, but the drivers out here are really trying to find the limits as fast as they can to understand how hard they can go, not only for the race, but for qualifying here later in a few minutes.
You know, with 6 laps complete, the real question I have now for this one car is, has he damaged his tires? Because as Dale pointed out, car looks great. No real damage to the car. You would love to be able to continue practice with just under 10 minutes left, so the team can fix that roof flap, roll and look at the tires and make sure there's no flat spots or anything. You don't want to go out and have a flat tire and damage the car more. 4th on the speed chart for Sam Mayer.
Look at the tires. If they're not flat spotted, we may just go to let him get back up to speed before we qualify.
I like that. So basically that was the communication. Let's look at the tires. And hey, I'm not really worried about practice, but let's not say, hey man, next lap, let's go qualify. Let's build your confidence a little bit, get you a couple laps, get back in your rhythm. I think it's really well done, and I really see that Marty Lindley has come on with this one car this year, and I think his experience being a little bit more of a, call it a father figure for a young driver. I think it takes some pressure off the young driver. We see big gains with Sam Mayer, and now this is a car that we've become accustomed to seeing at some of the road courses, the 17 with that HendrickCars.com paint scheme. Alex Bowman behind the wheel.
Now Alex will be making his first Xfinity Series start.
Just watching Alex negotiate these S's. Last handful of times, he has been attacking these S's perfectly. Not too aggressive, but not leaving that much on the table. Junior creating speed to where he gets to you at your end of the racetrack.
Yeah, this is a great opportunity for the Cup drivers when we come to the road courses. The cars do not compare that much to the Cup cars. The next-gen car and the Xfinity car are two different vehicles more than ever these days. But Getting laps at the road courses is always helpful. There's always tricks and nuances to getting around these places, and absolutely going to be helping Bowman for Sunday's race.
Junior, the Cup drivers' schedules, they're so full. You know, they race so much at the Cup level. If you want to be a better road racer, it's not like you can just say, hey, for a few weekends a year, I'm going to go run this other series. When we get done, racing stopped around the world, and because of weather. And so there isn't time. So, yes, this isn't the perfect car. The shifter's different. The brakes are different. It's completely different. But when would you ever get a chance? And on a weekend where you're already at the racetrack, this is the opportunity. If you're going to get better in racing conditions, this is it. There is no other opportunity because of how busy the Cup drivers are. I think it's the right thing to do, to take the time to try to get better.
Back down this straightaway, headed toward the bus stop. Hard braking zone, down shifting to the gears. Look how much curb, all the curb. Takes the car entirely across that. When they repaved this racetrack, they redid the curbs. The curbs are flat. They're kind of like a suggestion more than anything. A bit wide through the carousel right there, but that's going to produce a lot of speed on corner exit. Headed back to Jeff.
Yeah, just love using all that racetrack, and I love the fact that Alex Bowman can be really aggressive here. He's here to learn. He's here, you want to win, but there's opportunities to learn. And the way you are successful at racetracks is know where to push, know where not to push. Alex Bowman having this practice session is just giving him more time on track.
So as Bowman crosses the start-finish line, behind him is the 20 of John Hunter Nemechek, and what a season it's already been for JHN. 5 wins on the season and competitive virtually every week.
Yeah, and John Hunter's, it's an interesting story. Remember, this is a driver that we've seen in trucks. We've seen all the way up to the Cup level. He's come back down.
We got another spin. We got a car backing into the tire barrier. Sorry, guys.
Big hit for Weatherman. So Kyle Weatherman puts it deep into the tire barriers. And, yeah, they'll see the red flag. That's a caution during practice. So it looks as though he's going to be able to make his way back to pit road.
Actually, very lucky to be able to not contact that tire barrier more. I think they'll be able to get this car repaired. But same thing, I believe, that happened to Sam Mayer. He's going to get off into the corner a little bit aggressive. You start hearing the rear tires chirping. That contact right there, not too severe. Very thankful to have those tires there, creating minimal damage. If he gets in the guardrail there, definitely talking about possibly bent rear clips and all sorts of things. But this car right here, I believe the suspension's in good order. Beat out some of those dents, move that body back into position, he'll be ready to go.
Yeah, Junior, looking to make his 100th Xfinity Series start this weekend.
So this area of the track is interesting because, so you turn into the bus stop, you're turning right. But then to exit the bus stop, you start to turn left. And as soon as you crest, you go from a left-hand corner, right side tires loaded, instantly to a right-hand carousel. So instead of going from a straightaway turning one direction, you're actually instantly, it's kind of a switchback. You go from left to right, and I think, so it's right there, right? You come out of the carousel, you're turning right now, and you're asking that left rear tire to basically hold the entire race car. And you see the tire marks from Sam Mayer. This spin was a little bit earlier.
Also, Steve, for whatever reason, the last corner of the bus stop, there's a lot of dirt being drug onto the racetrack, and that carries onto the racetrack, and they bring that dirt and move that dirt down into the carousel. And so I believe that there's a lack of grip. Anytime anybody gets really, really close to the grass, it's like a vacuum. It pulls that dirt out of the grass and on across the racetrack. And so the drivers continue to bring that into the surface. And sometimes, they'll run a few laps without any trouble. It clears out, the dirt goes away, then somebody runs back through the grass, more dirt onto the track. So when you come into these corners, you really don't know exactly what type of racetrack you have. That can be challenging because you'll go through there one lap, it's clean, a lot of grip. You'll come back around a lap later, and you got a slick, dirty racetrack you got to contend with.
Yeah, so basically what I was talking about, what Dale's talking about is, right, so you're turning through here, and you have to come back this direction. And what happens is you're really kind of loading the left rear. And, Dale, are they getting grass from drivers right, drivers left, or all of the above? Because you kind of hit both curbs and both bits of grass there.
Yeah, the dirt that I'm seeing is coming out of drivers right, that final exiting curb of the bus stop. And so I'm not even actually seeing cars drop tires in the grass. It's just the car's close proximity to the grass is like a vacuum. It's sucking the dirt across that curb and into the racing surface. If you're looking all the way to the left side of the racetrack out to offline of that corner, you can see that dirt laying there. You can see all of the dirt and debris that you can see the truck driving through there right now, dust, rooster tail of dust coming up from behind it.
Right, so now you're coming out of that bus stop where you're already very busy and you hope you're in the right position. It's a little blind to your point, Dale, and now you enter, the entrance of the carousel, I've seen multiple lines all be successful, right? I've seen this tidy, low line all the way around that curbing on the right. I've seen guys kind of enter a little wide and almost a little diamond. But to Dale's point, you see kind of the tire tracks that are clean and that light gray to driver's left. You get out there, it's no man's land. I think Kim has caught up with the driver. The first one we saw spin out back here, Sam Ayers standing with Kim.
That's right, Steve, and we'll get Sam to walk us through the incident. What was the car giving you in terms of feedback, and did the track feel dirty?
Yeah, the car's pretty good. I'm not too fussed about it. Just mistakes happen. I just overstepped the boundaries of the car a little bit, but I know the car's as fast as Xfinity 10G. I just got to go out there and keep it on the racetrack, but I'm not too worried about it. Just got a little bit loose. I was fighting a little bit free feeling the whole practice, so kind of just goes to show that you overstep your boundaries, you're going to eat it a little bit, but everything will be fine for qualifying the race. I'm not worried.
When you and I were talking, you said that you felt like all of the guys were super aggressive compared to last year. Last year, they were kind of taking it easy during practice. Why do you think the intensity level has amped up?
Yeah, I think we're just getting more aggressive as drivers. We're trying to get everything we can get. We're trying to see what our car is doing earlier. And I noticed last year we were taking it a lot easier, and that's what I was doing for the first 4 or 5 laps of practice. And then that lap I was trying to see what I could really do, and obviously I overstepped a little bit. But I think everyone's just being more aggressive overall, trying to see what their car has, because I think that's valuable information that you're going to get out of it.
Drivers pushing it to the limit here at Watkins Glen.
There's Kyle Busch in the 10, driving for Colleague Racing. And we heard earlier how RCR was going to be keeping an eye on that entry, and Kyle Busch and how he does to find out if they can make their equipment better as well. Right now, Kyle Busch has the second fastest lap that's been turned at a 72.4 second lap.
You're going to know about your equipment because there's no question mark on the guy behind the wheel. If it can happen, he'll do it.
Yeah, best that's ever driven the Xfinity Series.
And he's vocal, which, look, there's that dirt Dale was talking about being drug onto the racetrack. You can actually see the back of that car kind of sliding around as well.
Yeah, he was pushing as hard as he could. Back of the car around. That corner back there also is a couple different ways to do it. These are pretty cut and dry. How far can I drive into the corner? How much speed can I carry right here? But I got to be able to get back in the gas quickly to get down this front straightaway.
So now he's coming down. We see north of 150 miles an hour, about 152, 153 down this front stretch. Heavy brakes, downhill, down to high 70s, that mid-corner speed. Then you kind of scoot across. Still going downhill. It's hard to tell. But then Bagley, this is really loading the front tires as they climb the hill.
And this is where he'll pivot, going from right now to the left. And that car pivots. Last time through, very aggressive this time through. And then this is where you all let it come to a head right now. Out of 4 with max speed as possible.
There's a ton of time to be able to be made through this part of the racetrack. The car does have to change directions really well. You're leaning hard on the left front, turning into the bus stop, and then you want the car to turn left, switch over to the right front. Very important the car can change directions quickly to make up the time through there.
And having rear grip on the exit of that corner while the car is turning is so important. This one you got to make sure you can brake straight, no rear wheel hop. use all the curb, get all the way to the grass on this side of the racetrack, and then use the curb effectively on the right side. And look how close they come to that wall on the driver's side.
And we're seeing the telemetry here. Steve, you mentioned probably over 150 mile an hour down the front stretch. We see right there 155 as he was going into turn number 1.
I actually like this in front right here. This 2 of Creed and the 07. Very aero racetrack. I think it's a track you want to run in traffic. Plus it affects your kind of your viewpoints, what you're seeing as you get into this braking zone.
Yeah, this track is, oh man, he had a little bit of wheel hop trying to slow the car down. You can see the hands moving around, trying to control the car. A lot of movement. Driver is really extending this race car and pushing it beyond its limits. Love seeing these guys use all that racetrack on corner exit. Good corners, good pace by the 2 car.
Yeah, Sheldon Creed, 12th fastest overall. It's an important race for Sheldon Creed. Needs a clean race. Guys have struggled with that so far this year. Sheldon's going to push hard. I can promise you that. That's the kind of driver he is. Give you 100% every lap.
40 cars here, and the clock is winding down as practice about to conclude, and then there will be 2 different groups of qualifying that will go out. The fastest 5 from each group will then have a final round of qualifying, and that will be for the 10 top spots and, of course, the pole. Fastest in this practice was Justin Allgaier, just under 72 seconds. Take a look at the day. It's full. Cup Series practice and qualifying at 12:30. Then the Dale Jr. download with Chip Ganassi at 2:30. Countdown to green and racing 3 to 3:30 there. And tomorrow, the Cup Series will take on the Glen. Countdown to green at 2:30 with racing after. What'd you learn, Steve?
I learned that tires still aren't of a huge value. These guys can run their fastest lap on lap 3, 4, or 5, and Watkins Glen is the same exciting yet treacherous road course with some potential trouble out there. Seems like mostly so far in the bus stop and the carousel.
Anything stand out to you, Bagman?
No, not really. Same old Watkins Glen. You still need speed. You need aerodynamics. You need to get through the S's cleanly. If you don't get through the S's cleanly, that's going to hurt you at all other points around the racetrack. Everybody did a good job in this practice session through the S's. Dale Jr., what about you?
Yeah, I think it's a traditional Watkins Glen. Right now in practice, everybody trying to, give each other a lot of room and allow each other the right line through the corners. But we know in the race, they're going to be racing side by side in the braking zones of the bus stop. They're going to argue and battle side by side through this particular part of the track. And they're a little offline now, bringing a lot of dirt on the racetrack. Just wait until the race when they're pushing each other into the grass. Things are going to get really treacherous. This track's going to get slicker. It's going to produce a lot of challenges for the drivers down into the carousel. And then trying to get out of that carousel, be able to throttle down on that long straightaway and not be vulnerable in the next braking zone where Jeff Burton is going to be important.
Yeah, what I looked at was who's fast. And to me, Justin Allgaier, that team and they need to clean some stuff up. They've been exceptionally fast, had chance to win these road course races, haven't been able to connect all the dots and get it done. They are, again, fast today, and I think the fastest. But don't sleep on Cole Custer. Cole Custer is also very fast. He could put a lot of good lap times together. Those 2 have been the best road racers so far this year, and I think they'll be battling it out again along with Ty Gibbs and, of course, Kyle Busch.
And we'll give you guys a little break. You can come off your perches if you like. Steve, one of the things that we'll talk about a lot when we're here at Watkins Glen is curb hopping. And we see it, are you trying to shorten the track, straight lines?
Basically, these curbs don't upset the car enough that you don't want to use them. I mean, you see all 4 tires. The real key is that you have to run this line. It's how quickly does the car settle. Like, look at the 48 bounce. Hop, those first 2 cars landed once and settled. So when you talk about things a crew chief can do, your suspension settings are very important here, not just for grip, but you can't tell Kyle Busch, no, don't jump that curb to driver's right, because he'll say that's the only way to run the bus stop. So he's going to use every bit of it, and you see right here how much this car loses rear grip, big counter steer, and now he's going to use that. I mean, the tires are only on the ground for about half of the bus stop. The idea is to put the shocks in a setting where instead of continuing to bounce, it kind of hits and settles. It's that easy. So basically, if we look right here, driver's right, all 4 tires on that curb. Then on the left side, you probably hit this with just lefts. In the middle of the bus stop, you're turning back to the left with the goal of getting your left side tires, driver's left, right side tires, driver right. Now remember, that's when you have the whole track, which is what they'll have in qualifying. But in the race, it'll be different. But I agree with all the assessment about speed. I think the 7 of Allgaier is one of the best cars. Kim, what's the driver think?
Well, we've been talking the wind, we've been talking the track surface, the curbs. What did you learn in this practice? Obviously, a very fast race car.
Yeah, that was the biggest thing. Just proud of everybody at Junior Motorsports. I mean, this brand fresh Gold Camaro is really, really good. I love this place. We've had a lot of good runs here, but I felt like just the speed we unloaded off the truck. I mean, lap 1, I felt confident, and a lot of that goes down to the preparation. We've been in the simulator and working on that, and talking a lot about it, watching the previous races, and I think you're just constantly evolving and learning, and that's something for me this time is worked really hard on just trying to be better myself. And we've given a lot of races away that we probably should have won this year. So, that the best way to do that is just to focus on yourself and go after it. So proud of the team, proud of the effort. All 4 of our JRM Chevys are really, really fast. Obviously, Hendrick Engine Department and Chevrolet have been a huge part of that, but now we just got to go get after it, got to get a good qualifying and keep that track position all day.
As we look forward to qualifying, it's a high commitment track, it's a high speed track. How does that affect your qualifying lap?
Well, good news is we got some of the high commitment out right there. So, qualifying doesn't seem to be as much, but, I think that there's still areas for me where there's still room left. And I think it comes down to risk versus reward, right? We know that just because you can go faster doesn't mean that it number one is good on the car. It's really easy to damage these cars if you're doing things wrong or get off track in any way. But number 2, I think, you got to go out there and just get a good solid lap in, because if you make a mistake, I think the tires are going to degrade enough throughout the course of, even a lap that I don't think you're going to get a second shot at it. So not making mistakes is going to be important, not only for qualifying, but for today in the race. But, obviously the goal is always be as fast as Xfinity Internet, right? And we still got our work cut out for us, but I think we got a really, really good shot at it. You have really good stats when it comes to Watkins Glen, but still looking for that win. What has kept you from victory lane here? There's always like 1 or 2 guys that are a little bit better than me every weekend, and it's kind of frustrating. But this place, it's such a unique road course. It's so high speed, and I think when you get a comfort level here, it's easier to go out there and to make good lap time. But then putting it all together, getting the right track position, having the perfect strategy. I mean, especially now with no stage cautions, I think it's going to be a big task on Jim Pullman's shoulders to have that right strategy, knowing when to pit. There's so many things that you're trying to control the unknown, right? And I think that's where it becomes really difficult. But, again, I couldn't be more proud of this team, the effort that we put in this year. We've had fast Camaros every week we've unloaded, and this week's no different. We just gotta go capitalize on that. Definitely one of the contenders this weekend for the win at Watkins Glen.
Thanks, Kim. And, of course, Allgaier is going to be fighting for the regular season championship. The other drivers, and including Parker Kligerman, Sheldon Creed, those 2 drivers separated by 17 points just to get into the playoffs. And, again, 4 races until the playoffs kick off. For a little bit more on Parker Kligerman, take a look at this.
Parker Kligerman thought his racing career was over.
That's Parker Kligerman.
Before he got the surprise of returning to a full-time NASCAR Xfinity Series schedule for the first time in 10 years.
It is special because it's something that I don't really think for a while I thought was going to happen. And sort of the way it did come about was really cool because it was about performance and about winning.
Parker Kligerman has won!
Winning was something Kligerman had done 3 times in the Truck Series. But he had moved into a successful career as a broadcast analyst and pit reporter, interviewing the drivers he'd been racing.
There was times, and I'm standing there and I'm talking about someone that I've beaten before and they're going on to win a race, and you kind of have a moment of introspection, which is like, why am I not doing that? It was tough, but I don't think I would have the opportunity I have now without the time that I spent broadcasting and had to watch the sport from such a different perspective.
And you can see that from where the cars have actually bottomed out as they come over this curb.
Now he's on the cusp of claiming an Xfinity Series playoff spot.
They told Parker we can still get more positions,
either through points or with a victory.
It would mean a lot to me to win at this level for all the people who have, the last 8 years or so, pushed me to keep doing this, to keep racing when I probably felt like time was up.
And Parker right on the cusp of a playoff spot. And in talking with he and his team, they think that they are the best they've been all season. So we're going to steal a word with him. You just missed your feature, by the way. He was studying SMT data, but you guys think you are at the peak of where you've been all season. How do you jump on that opportunity here this weekend at Watkins Glen?
It's just execution, right? I know it's a boring term, but it is. And thank you to everyone at NBC and Joel Maddox for putting that together. I mean, I think it was amazing. And that was so cool. It really warmed my heart. So thank you all. I'd like to live up to that, what I said in that piece, which is to go win, right? And I think today is an opportunity. I think we have opportunities every single week, and we keep doing what we've been doing, which is we're clicking off some of the best finishes in the series. We're gelling, and if we can just execute and build on those things and just get stage points with that, I think we find ourselves being a serious playoff contender. So we'll see here. I think we have a way better car than we showed in practice. We just were in traffic the whole time, so hopefully we can go out there and have a good qualifying lap.
So that piece touched on your driving, but it also touched on your broadcasting. Now that you've moved back over to the other side, did you lose some of the advantage? You used to be able to talk to teams, or is there things that you put away in your driving notebook that you learned from teams over the course of your broadcasting side of things that are helping you now?
Well, I still have friends like yourself who can just give me all the info, right? Teams, she's telling me everything. I'm kidding. I'm not going to blow up your spot like that. But yeah, it's I still get the opportunity to sort of look around and look at the higher, and I think you learn in doing this job, like how to sort of observe things from a higher point of view and take that in and apply it. So I've definitely kept that. It's a little harder to keep up in this series, although Cup is better. I still feel very in tune with Cup, and the team's very open to talking to me. But here I just got to be focused on our deal, right? I got to, for Big Machine, for Scott Borchetta at Spike Coors, I got to be focused on what we're doing. And so, you know, I got to stay a little bit one-minded and in our deal, but hopefully we can go out there and that will prove some success here soon. But I still think I could do this. You know, I've showed a little bit on Cup, right? We're okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Good luck this weekend.
Appreciate it.
And it's interesting talking with Parker about the transition into racing back full time. And he said, you know, when he was doing part-time, he could study and prepare for a race over the course of 2 or 3 weeks. And now he's kind of having to squeeze all his preparation week to week into 2 or 3 days. And it's been a huge change, but he is taking that challenge on gracefully. And we'll see what he can do this weekend.
The big difference, Rick, is when you run part-time, there's a lot less expectation. Right? Each race or each opportunity is kind of a singular event. But when you run full-time in a series, everyone's going to set their bar at the playoffs. And that's what Parker has in front of him. These next 4 weeks are going to be pressure-packed for this 48 team.
And Parker, great at being able to flip the switch from driver to broadcaster. Does an excellent job at both. I want to take a look at the rules that are taking place now in front of us. 15-minute group qualifying. It'll be broken into 2 groups. Again, there are 40 cars here. They will break them up probably 20-20. And then the top 5 from each will advance to that final 10-minute round, which is where we will determine the pole winner and those top 10 starting positions.
Yeah, we saw the traffic for Ty Gibbs and other cars earlier, and that's really why 20-car groups seems a bit more realistic to get a clean lap. But you still have to manage it. You have to find your gap, find your traffic, because a clean lap is important as having a smooth lap behind the wheel.
How many times have you been up on the bus stop there, Steve?
Never, but actually, you can cover Cup. I'm going to go watch from over there. That place looked pretty good. But this is Watkins Glen in a nutshell. Yeah. You kind of lose their perspective because it is such a huge facility. But I'm not sure there's a better place to grab a golf cart and ride around the outskirts, both inside and outside of the racetrack, because there are a ton of cool setups and there are a ton of cool stories. Folks that have been coming to the same location for so long, their neighbors at Watkins Glen are just like their neighbors at home. They know these families on either side of them. They're prepped and planned. As you can see, scaffolding galore. Everybody trying to get a good view.
Positive numbers once again. The campsites have been sold out for the weekend. I think they continue on a streak that they have some of the best fans in NASCAR that come out to support the racing weekend.
We see cars rolling off. Another small little thing that makes a difference if you're watching and you're watching the times pop up is these cars will actually race to an alternate start-finish line. So the concept is if you use the real start-finish line, you have to go out and run multiple laps and traffic becomes even worse. So you see that line across the racetrack right there, halfway down kind of the third straightaway. That would be heading towards where Jeff Burton will be watching from turn 6, the race later today. That is what starts and ends your lap. Now you can run multiple laps at a time, but that's important because now you know, 6 and 7 isn't where you're going to make up time. That's the beginning of your lap. So it'll be interesting as we watch the tracker to just have an idea of kind of where they're being timed.
And that's so they don't have to go an entire lap to get back to pit road.
Yeah, if you were only going to run one, you would have to come out, run a whole lap, start your lap, run a whole lap to finish, and then have a whole cool-down lap. So you'd have all these cars out here running slow. So they put the alternate start-finish line near pit in. So you finish your lap, and then you could kind of get out of the way. So if you watch right here, Kaz Grala in this 26 right there. So he's now at speed and on his time qualifying run.
Kaz, see their 5 top 10 finishes this season.
Yeah, finished 5th here last year. So this is a driver that I think loves the road courses. I think he sees it as an opportunity.
He was 8th fastest overall in practice, running a 72.61 for Sam Hunt Racing. We'll see how he does on this lap.
I think the prediction is going to be very difficult because of what Parker said. A lot of traffic, you know, a lot of dirty areas of the racetrack that drivers were cleaning off. So now as he exits the top of the S's, now it's all about, this is the hardest braking zone. So it's very flat. You're going to see right here, he's going to brake straight and then try to turn left, hit those curbs that we show everybody bouncing over.
And it looks like he's getting into a little bit of traffic in front of him, which could affect his lap.
Yeah, this is a bad spot, too, because that arrow wash in the carousel can make a big difference. Nice carousel, though. Tidy right around the bottom. Now this big wide exit. So everybody loves the wide exits, so I'm not a fan.
And that concludes his lap right there. So Grala goes 72.26. Which is a little bit faster than his lap in practice. And again, the top 5 from each group will then advance into the final round as we see Sam Mayer, who spun in practice earlier.
Yeah, Stephen Parsons currently 2nd. Good lap for Stephen, only a couple tenths off Kaz Grala. Josh Balicki, a road course racer, back there in 3rd. Stephen's lap, very impressive.
There's Sheldon Creed. Not sure if this would be considered a make or break race, but there has to be a turning point for the 2 team and Sheldon Creed, that they turn the direction and get really the finishes that they've been running. That's one of the biggest things with Sheldon Creed, is we've seen him run well. We just haven't seen him finish well. He hasn't won in the Xfinity Series, and I think a lot of people were thinking that he would be able to win races as we see him post the fastest lap. Now it's Josh Berry that has the fastest lap.
Quickly eclipsed, and you mentioned it, Rick. The whole goal is top 5 to go do this again. Sammy Smith in 3rd. So Parsons and Grala have to instantly think that their laps probably won't hold up with cars still to run. Only 11 cars currently have taken time.
I believe also Kyle Busch is going to be a part of this group too, so you would expect him to be up there in that top 5.
Well as Cole Custer. We see Jeb Burton. So this is interesting because we talk a lot about kind of gapping yourself. The other option is if road courses aren't your thing. Sometimes it's go follow someone who has a lot of confidence here just to try to not overdrive the corners, understand where you need to be. You know, sometimes you ever played a video game, you get the ghost car, and it helps you, oh, wait, this is where I'm gaining time and losing time versus my other car. Well, you can't have your own ghost car, but if you're Jeb Burton, you say, you know, Cole Custer, if I catch Cole Custer, that's going to be a good lap. I'm not going to worry about the traffic. So that's a good approach. I think this is a really smart idea for drivers that are trying to find their rhythm at a racetrack.
Chase after some of them. Cole Custer, 2 wins already on the season. He's locked into the playoffs.
You see on the bottom right, Sam Mayer, that's not a mistake. We talked about multiple laps. He's going to run a 2nd lap.
And remember, we're comparing now to 5th, Kaz Grala, so that's why you see a number of those drivers in green.
And I like this idea because I think the tires get a little better with temperature, maybe 1 lap better. So if he can just improve right here, then he can not worry about going back out in the final 9 minutes. And this is going to be a big improvement on
big lap.
Grala. But let's see where it is. Mayer ran at 80 before, so this is going to be almost the same as he ran before. He improves slightly from like an 86 to an 81. So that tells me very consistent. He must have been pretty close to what he thinks that car can get. Cole Custer, now he's going to run well down in the 111s.
Yeah, lost a little bit of time there exiting the carousel, but as you mentioned, a fast enough lap. But 71.6, breaks into that top 5. So now it's Sammy Smith that's on the bubble.
I think this is another one of those chase the rabbit things right here. This is Brandon Jones saying, I know Kyle Busch is going to be fast. I'm going to line up behind him. Both of these cars now just starting their laps, I believe.
Sure enough, Kyle Busch behind the 10, LA Golf. Colleague Racing entry. And then for Junior Motorsports, Brandon Jones.
You see the difference, right? Is Kyle went into the green, so didn't Brandon Jones, but then Brandon Jones couldn't get off the corner, so he lost time on exit. First, Kyle Busch, who's kind of pulling away. Kyle Busch is going to be very close to the best time we've seen here today. It depends on how he gets through the bus stop. He's going to take the hard right, try to get it pitched back to the left right here, and then instantly go back, lean on those rear tires. Not as good as I thought. Lost time to Sammy Smith through the bus stop. Can he make it up through the carousel? He will.
Drifted, but this is it for Kyle Busch's lap.
I think this is exactly what they were thinking, right? This is third quick at a 6:03. Look how close that is. Barry at a 30 feels pretty good. Custer at a 6:01. Busch is 6:03. Creed a 6:55. It's just amazing how close these are now that 19 cars have run.
3.5 tenths separating the top 4. The only one who hasn't been out that's part of this group is Ross Chastain in the 91. We're seeing Emmerling run again. He had a 75.4 for his first lap.
Yeah, a New Yorker from Orchard Park, New York, but never raced here at the Glen. I mean, that's like controlled violence kind of right there. Like, you got to figure out the curbs are the answer to the correct line, but you also have to hit them kind of at the right angle, because if you just have your angle a little wrong, they upset the car so severely that you end up hurting your lap.
Picked up a little speed there, did Patrick Emmerling. He's 16th fastest of the 19 that have been out on the track. And let's go back to Kim.
And Daniel Hemrick down here studying all the data, looking at the lines guys are running in Group A. How is that going to change your intention when you go out and make your qualifying lap?
Really just trying to find little things that kind of give me a little bit more of intention to kind of lanes I'm going to run in certain areas you want to place the Circle Chevrolet at. So, yeah, hopefully I can be okay with my study here and get a little better. But probably these guys at Colleague Racing, it's good to have Kyle here to help us evaluate our package specifically here at Watkins Glen. So I feel like it's a little better. I don't know if the practice chart shows the speed of my 11 car and a 16, but I think we'll all collectively get better here, and look forward to having a shot at it.
As you go out there with a plan, knowing it's a high-speed track, if you're realizing it's not working for you, how quickly can you change what you're going to do out there?
I mean, not in one lap. Obviously, what you do is pretty well in concrete, so you just got to be intentional, and you've got to execute your plan. So hopefully I can do that, and like I said, we can get a Circle Chevrolet's fast Xfinity 10G internet, and got a little bit of work to do though.
Here's Ross Chastain. He's the last of the group to be out on track.
Well, so the other challenge, while this is nothing as constricting as the Chicago street course, this is very different than Indy a week ago, right? I mean, look, there's barriers everywhere. So it's a very risk-reward racetrack. You have to understand where you are willing to push and where you aren't. It's like Ross right here, heavy braking into the bus stop. There's a bailout. If you don't do it right, you're just going to miss the bus stop. It'll kill your lap. But then we've seen two drivers spin right here, entering the carousel. One made contact with the tires. You see the tire marks. You don't want that to be an issue. As Chastain is looking for some more speed out of the carousel, it's not going to go the right way.
He was in the green and then lost quite a bit of that. He's going to be close, but doesn't look like he'll break into the top 5.
Yeah, where Kaz Gralla is the opposite. He's, I think, climbing the S's right now, and he's in the green. We'll see how he does on the bus stop. So much can be made or lost in the bus stop.
Yeah, lost some speed there going through the bus stop as we see him now through that turn into the carousel and into the red again.
It looked super controlled, which you would think is going to set him up for a good carousel exit, but the time just doesn't agree. Like, so visually, if you took the time off, I would have said, man, look at nice, in control, tidy lap. But, you know, it's a contest of speed. We're going to see a lot of this right here down in the corner. Yeah, you want to know how you flat spot a tire? You slide it, then carry it completely off the ground. It's hard to do the elevation change here justice. Like, that is a big downhill, and then when he makes this right-hand corner right here, he's still going downhill. This is all the way downhill, and now at the bottom right here, these front tires get smashed because that's the bottom, and now he's on this big climb, and that climb makes it blind, crests the hill. Now, this is relatively flat. It's actually a little uphill all the way down the backstretch. If you ride a bike around here, it's way more uphill than you think.
Now there's left front doesn't even touch through the middle of the carousel.
Yeah, right. Look at this. Same thing. He's got a little green.
But he's losing it there.
Oh, can he get through the carousel?
Still going the wrong way, but how close is he going to be? Fifth by 4/1,000th of a second.
So while I love tire grip going away for the race, I love tires that hold grip for qualifying because it allows drivers to go out there and continue to better each other's laps. Jeb Burton right here, so he's trying to really just to prove his own time, right? So he's 15th at a 1:13.1. So while the goal's the top 5, every lap can move you up the grid, right? So he's right now trending at like a 1:12.2. I mean, that would be big. That's going to be like 7 or 8 spots on the starting grid, maybe more.
Driving for Jordan Anderson Racing, a special paint scheme this week for Jeb Burton, honoring first responders and flight crews. And for the owners of this team, Jordan Anderson, no more perfect example of thanking first responders and flight crews than when he was involved in an incident that the first responders, he said, saved his life. And so they want to make sure that they thank them, and that's what that paint scheme's all about.
Yeah, a big wreck at Talladega and a big wreck with a truck on fire, and you know, the sport's dangerous, and I don't want to take anything away from the impacts, but I think if you ask every race car driver, they'll tell you fire is the thing they don't want to talk about, right? These have fuel and oil and a lot of combustible things inside these race cars, and glad to see Jordan end up okay. And great year for Jordan Anderson Racing. Like seeing Victory Lane, just another team that continues to build. We talk so much about the front guys and who's going to make the playoffs or not. Well, Jeb Burton says, man, don't forget about me. I'm in. I've done it. I've done what everybody needs to do. Happy for Jordan and the whole organization.
Trying to accumulate as many playoff points as they can to help them get through the stages. We see Sam Mayer back out on track. Mayer is currently 7th. Sammy Smith also out on track. Again, 40 seconds remaining in this group. As long as you take the start line, if you get to the start line before the clock expires, that lap will count. These guys on their laps currently.
Sam Mayer's trying to make that big improvement. I mean, Sammy Smith is trying to better his own lap with the anticipation of this guy behind him. Oh boy,
almost spun out again.
That's where he spun out. You see the damage on the left rear from other wall contact.
How did he stay in the green, though, after that?
Stay in the gas. I guess you stay in the green. I don't know. That is unbelievable. Sammy Smith, big lap, jumps up to 2nd, and Mayer's 2nd. So track getting cleaner, drivers pushing it more. Sam Mayer is 2nd with, I'll call it as close to a wreck in the carousel as you can be.
He was sideways.
What a lap. And how about this? We talk about Kyle Busch. He's sitting there in 5th. Wow.
As the clock has expired, make sure no one else is on course right now.
Let's take another look at this. So everything looks good, and then he turns to the right. Man, and that car comes around in a hurry. He just stays driving it, though. I mean, look at the left rear tire. So that's a new tire. That's not from his practice issue. So at some point, he has hit the wall in qualifying as well.
That's what happened. This was in practice.
Yeah.
Had that little spin there in the carousel.
go back and look. If I had to guess.
7?
7.
Yeah.
I think the final corner is really where you can hit the left rear tire and keep going. Look, if you come here enough, you can see kind of everything. I'm trying to think around the racetrack. Like, you can't really make contact in the S's and continue. Right side's crystal clean, which tells me it was the exit of a right-hander. Now, there's really only 2, maybe 3 lefts. 1 in the S's, 1 in the inner loop, in turn 6. Everything else here is a right-hand corner.
So we'll take a look at the top 10 from Group A. Again, top 5 will advance into the final round. But the fastest is Josh Berry. Is this the racetrack where he gets his first win of 2023? He is fastest in Group A. Mayer, Smith, Custer, and Busch all will advance to that next round. And standing by with the fastest here at Watkins Glen right now is Kim.
So top of the board in your group of qualifying. As you look to the next round, what areas of the racetrack do you feel like you might be able to gain speed?
I feel like we hit a pretty good lap there. I think for me to be that fast at one of these places had to be a pretty good lap, right? But I feel like there's still a little bit of things I'd clean up there. But overall, really, really happy with our 8 car. Been working really hard to get better at these road courses. And really the last few weeks we've had some more speed. We just got to put the races together. So happy with the day, happy with the speed. We'll try to do our best to back it up in this final session. But, all in all, it's a good start. Just want to thank everybody at Junior Motorsports, Hendrick Motorsports for the engines, everything they do for us, and obviously Johnny Morris, Bass Pro Shops for being on board. It's always fun to be here at the Glen.
As you look to increase your road course prowess, what falls into that bucket of things you can do? What kind of drivers are you leaning on? What kind of data are you studying? What are you doing to become better at these courses?
Yeah, I think a lot of it's just watching the data and really interpret it and understanding how it looks for yourself. Spent a lot of time looking at that yesterday, and even in between practice and here trying to make the adjustments that you need to try to find a little bit more speed. So I feel like all that's working. It's still got to translate into the race, but overall we're coming to these road courses and we're faster in practice, we're faster in qualifying. We just got to put together the strategy in the race and be there at the end.
All right, we'll see what Josh Berry has for round 2 of qualifying.
So Group A has completed their time on track. Now the 15-minute clock has started for Group B.
So now if you make the top 5 in Group B, you run again. And if you're unable to make the top 5, you kind of get put back in the general bucket of all the drivers who didn't. So lap time still matters. I think sometimes we forget about if you can go from 12th in your group to 7th, while we go, oh, you didn't make the top 5, that's still at least 5 cars in your group you're starting in front of, and it could be a huge difference in Group A.
There's Parker Kligerman out there in the 48. Talked about the double duty driver, not between Cup and Xfinity, but between driving and broadcasting. And he'll come up to the alternate start finish line, and his time will start now. Right on the bubble is Parker Kligerman, 17 points out currently to Sheldon Creed.
Parker has a lot of confidence in his road course driving ability, so feels like he has to take real advantage of these opportunities. This right here, starting up the hill, this is the most important corner. If you overdrive this corner, you get in trouble. Parker did a nice job, stayed on the right side. That sets the rest of this up, so he never has to lift again until he gets to the inner loop.
Shifted right before turn 4 there.
I actually like that through the inner loop. Kind of controlled and really made sure he had the exit in the right location. Now we'll see if that creates lap time. Everybody talks about the runoffs. I think I'm in the minority when I say this, but I'm team no runoff. I wish there was a little bit of gravel out there and force these guys. I don't want all gravel where you just go out there and you get buried and you can't get back on. But I wish these guys were required to, be closer to the confines of the design racetrack.
Interesting to start off with. Only one driver is faster than those that ran in the first group, and that's Ty Gibbs, and he's the fastest of anybody who's run But after that, everyone was slower than the top 5 from Group A.
And that time that Parker Kligerman put down, it will be borderline whether that makes the top 5 or not. I have a feeling he'll have to pick a little speed up. Got this guy right here. He's going to be fast. Allgaier, I think, will be fast.
Is the track getting faster? Because we saw at the end of that first group, they started picking up the pace. Now we're starting to see Ty Gibbs goes fast. I think Alex Bowman's going to put a big lap up here.
I just think these guys are faster. I mean, I don't think the track's getting worse, but I think these guys are faster. I think they've had time to look at the information and adjust what they've been doing, and now Alex Bowman says, there you go, 111 flat.
Riley Herbst, he moved up into 3rd. He and Parker Kligerman are in this fierce battle to make the playoffs. Riley moved Parker out of the top 5.
Riley Herbst currently 11th in the standings. He's 34 points above Parker Kligerman as they run currently for the point standings, as we see Joe Graff Jr. and Perkins on the clock.
And we still got some, Justin Allgaier to run. Hemrick, we talked about him. Chandler Smith. There's Jeremy Clements.
Jeremy will be making his 454th starts this weekend, today, and that will now put him 5th all time as far as starts in the Xfinity Series. We see him slipping there a little bit through the carousel.
Well, and of this field, he's got to be the longest tenured, really, of anybody in this field here. So it's great to see Jeremy and this team continuing to find ways to keep putting competitive cars on the racetrack.
Dustin Long put together an article that is really good, talking about opportunities. And that is what every time Jeremy Clement gets on the racetrack, he thinks of it as an opportunity. I have an opportunity this week, and they try to go make the most of it. Here's the 16 out on track. That's Chandler Smith.
You can see right now he's just a little bit quicker than Austin Hill, but a lot of very important corners coming up. I think he may have overshot that inner loop just a little bit. The exit wasn't very good, trying to carry a little bit too much speed on the entry.
It's the balance, Rick. The best way to put this is you want to drive as far into the corner as possible, but not a foot too far that puts you out of position. And that's really the key, right? You can't just give up the entries because you'll lose too much time. But what do you think is more painful, under or over driving the entry?
Well, I mean, look, the problem is if you overdrive it, then you're just too deep. If I was going to make a mistake, I would underdrive it so I could be in the throttle here, where Hemrick needed to be in the throttle. You see he's all in the grass, bringing dirt onto the racetrack. So the problem with that is, Steve, you can't sit on the pole like that. You know what I mean? Like if you're gonna lay a really good lap time down, you've got to attack that entry. You can't give it up.
And Hemrick had a good lap until he got into the bus stop, and it looked like maybe bit off a little bit more of one of the turns there, was airborne.
So this is a team that we've become accustomed to being very good at the road courses, and I think self-admittedly they haven't been as good as they've wanted to at a few this year. Well, I don't know what they've worked on. I don't know what they've changed, but
this is a huge
7
lap,
car off the truck has been the best car in Watkins Glen, and this right here is going to be attention to the rest of the field. A 1:10.7, 0.6 of a second faster than his teammate in Group 1, 0.3 of a second faster than Bowman. I mean, the 7 is just unbelievable. You're going to watch a little right front lock up. Not too bad. He got it rolling pretty quick. That's just kind of standard entry into turn 1. But don't you think, like Allgaier, they've had some brake issues. They've had, like, just a little bit of – they're not been bad. But he's kind of the bar in my mind, right? You have Allmendinger, who's in a class of his own when he comes and runs, and you look at his numbers. But Allgaier is kind of the bar I expect, and, man, they have moved the bar this weekend.
Yeah, and I think, they've had multiple chances to win. They just have, found ways not to execute at the right time and let a lot of laps on road courses. Been fast, but just need to clean some mistakes up.
Well, that lap that we just watched there was as close to as good a lap that has ever been turned here. He was 0.2 of a second off of the track record for the Xfinity Series with what he just ran there in 1:10.76. As we see Joe Graff Jr. off pace now. Allgaier jumping out of that car. He'll have at least one more lap in front of him. He's going to make it into the next round 7 minutes still to go, but I can't imagine there's 5 faster cars out here in this group.
Yeah, William Byron holds that track record just a year ago. It was back in 2022 when he ran that 70-54.
Yep. Justin does not have to worry about making another run this session, for sure.
My goodness.
He's out. We're going to go watch some television. So what do you do right now? You know, if you're Justin Allgaier, you just lay the lap time down, but you know you got to do it again, right? So you got the first goal set. You got a fast race car. But how do you spend your time the next few minutes getting prepared? That's what's important, because you got to go do it again. Just because you did it once doesn't guarantee you're going to do it again. You got to go execute.
Well, Jeff, you're not going to love me as your crew chief, but I'm not going to celebrate your lap. That's what we expect it to do. I'm going to make it more of a, we expect it to be this good. I'm going to push you to say, what corners didn't you like? What do you need to be better? We're not racing everyone else. We're going to race ourselves right now. So let's put our own SMT data up, our own laps. And you tell me what corners you did or didn't like. I'm going to look. You know, they don't have quite the same technology the Cup cars have with all the driver information, but there's still some stuff out there of tracking lap times and things. I'm going to force you to keep looking at why can't we beat that track record. Let's go find that 0.3 of a second.
And that's what Parker Kligerman and his crew chief, they just did as well. So Patrick Donahue and Parker, they looked at data. They sat there and watched and said, okay, where's the speed? Where do we have to go pick it up? Make a little bit of air pressure change, make a driver adjustment, and now go out and see if you can make it happen.
Into one, and flirting right now with what we've seen out of John Hunter Nemechek. He's 5th, and that's what Kligerman is shooting for, at least to get inside of that top 5.
Had a little bit of issue turning right into turn 2. I don't think he quite was able to get as low and stay as low as long as he wanted to. That hurt him a little bit down this straight.
Right now he's going to have to keep going, Brandon.
That's the second channel. That's the crew chief to the spotter saying, hey, right now we're going to have to see more lap time or at least run another lap.
He got into that long right-hander really well, carried good speed in, but wasn't able to carry the speed off.
Yeah. Brandon Reynolds, crew chief for Parker Kligerman.
And Parker...
spotter.
Yeah, Parker Kligerman's wanting to hear right now, you're good, but he didn't. So he's going to have to keep going, and now he's trying to dig even deeper. Now he's like, okay, that wasn't good enough. I got to go find some more. And this is where you got to be careful not to overdrive the car and make a mistake.
And what, as a crew chief, I know you're trying to get to the top 5, but it is emotionally crushing when you look you're 1 second off the fast lap time. It's Patrick Donahue, longtime crew chief over here. Started kind of in the Cup Series with Jeff Gordon back in the 90s. Tire guy, worked his way up. Had his crew chiefing debut at Gordon Evernham back in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Watch this when Parker turns to the right. Look at the right side wall. See how it's painted red? That's so you don't hit it. If that's not painted red, it's hard to see where that wall ends. It just gives the driver just a little bit of signal that, hey, man, there's a wall right here. It ends. It just helps give a little bit of visual.
And just overall, the lap's just really noisy, right? Like, look at his hands through the carousel. Yeah. They're moving a lot.
Yeah, not going the right direction for Parker Kligerman both laps that we ran with him there, as we see Austin Hill on track, and he is 6th currently, under 3.5 minutes to go in this session.
Yeah, on the left side you see the green little check next to Nemechek's name because he's on the track as well. He expects that he's going to have to run faster.
Austin got into that inner loop really well, really did a nice job through that. Gained about 0.2 of a second. If he can carry that speed off, he's going to be in great shape right here.
Doesn't look like he's going to lose much. And across the stripe, and that's a great lap for Austin Hill. 4th, Kim.
And a much better run than his first qualifying laps. That's because he was chattering the front so badly in 10 and 11 during his first run. The air pressures took too long to fire off with the cold tires during the first run, so that's why they came down and they sent him back out for what should be a lap that can get him into the next round.
So I understand the 20 of Nemechek being on track. It's shocking to me that Gibbs up in 3rd is. There's such a big speed gap. I would have thought he was good, but
when really there's no benefit because you're just potentially hurting the tires in this extra lap that he's out there.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he had concern that he would be knocked out of the top 5. I just don't see it with the drivers remaining. I'm not sure there's enough speed I mean, it'd be a massive pickup for, you know, Moffitt or Mozak to get all the way up to Gibbs. Now, I think they can improve their own lap time, which is going to be their goal.
John Hunter did a really nice job getting up, climbing that hill. Let's see if he can carry it through. You just wouldn't think that bus stop makes that much difference, but you just saw that's 0.3 of a second through that one small area of a racetrack that Nemechek gave up. He was good until he got there.
And 0.3 of a second is what it's going to be that he's still behind Herbst. So that wasn't even as fast as his previous lap of 71.69. You see Gibbs 0.3 of a second faster, but that's compared to Herbst. So remember, he's 0.4 of a second faster on his initial lap.
Yeah, but this is trending down in the 110s. I mean, this is a, you know, this is going to be a good lap. I just don't think it's necessary in this round. He can't take this lap with him. So unless they've made a change to the car or they've asked Ty to change something behind the wheel that they feel like they needed, you know, some experience with, I just don't think this is a necessary lap. Now, it's going to be an amazing lap, and it is going to be probably the second best we've seen today, if not the first. He has a chance to be as fast or faster than Allgaier.
Yeah, John Hunter, he has stayed on track, and he's tracking better this lap than he did the previous lap. Gibbs to the fastest, but that's not the point at the moment, what you were saying. So Nemechek, he did not get through that inner loop in the carousel very well. Riley Herbst, he's going to improve his time.
Now listen, Jason Ratcliffe has done this more than basically anyone in the Xfinity level, so he had a plan with Gibbs, and he might think there's a speed out there on the track where they weren't comfortable with their lap.
Well, and it also shows you, Steve, that thinking about the race today, if they are willing to send, they're willing to send that 20 car out to run a second time, they are not concerned about tire fall off.
No.
At all. Because if tire fall off was real, no one could beat you anyway. And so he went quicker the second time out. So now, you know, you have to recognize as a crew chief and a driver, look, track position is huge. There isn't going to be tire fall off.
Can Hemrick figure out the bus stop? 3/10 going in, straight into entry. A little bit of left front wheel movement on exit, but looked relatively clean.
A lot cleaner that time. And he's still got 0.2 of a second on Austin Hill. Lost a little bit of it through the carousel. It's going to be close for Hemrick.
Oh, he does it.
A 41 to a 50. The difference. Kligerman still on his lap. He's 0.6 of a second off of what Hemrick just posted.
So you were asking if the track was picking up, and I thought overall it was maybe a faster group, and it might be, but I do think, to answer your question, you know, looking back now, the track might be finding some speed. I mean, Hemrick right there was just faster than his team car Kyle Busch in the first session, and the overall lap time in this 5 is a solid 2 or 3/10 faster, kind of top to bottom. So now we're going to pull all out there together, and we're going to find out if it's Group B being faster or the track.
I mean, Parker Kligerman ran 6 laps.
Yeah.
In qualifying. 6. He had 3 attempts. And that, I mean, and his third lap was only 0.3 of a second off of his best lap. So there is an opportunity if you make a mistake, Kim, to recover, because these tires are going to let you do it.
Let's get Cole Custer's perspective. He was part of Group A. Will transferred to the second round. As you were watching that second group, do you feel like the track is getting faster? What could you learn?
Yeah, I mean, the track can sometimes pick up a little bit of grip as it goes, but it's a lot about just having a good lap and getting the car how you want it driving-wise. So I feel like we have a solid high-point Ford Mustang. It's just a matter of fine-tuning a little bit. We have little things we can get better, and I can do better. So hopefully I have a shot at it here. It's gonna be tight. I mean, we have to really those guys, the JRM cars are fast and the Gibbs cars are fast, so we're going to give them a run for their money, though.
This is the 7th of 8 road courses this season, but everybody talks about Watkins Glen being so different, the super speedway of road courses. As a driver, what do you have to do differently at this road course?
Oh, well, it's just such a different feel from, you have to keep so much momentum. I mean, a lot of other places, you're coming to a, 30-mile-an-hour corner where you're, coming almost to a stop. So here it's a lot more about keeping momentum. The bus stop is always super tricky. I mean, just getting in a rhythm there with how big the curbs are. So as you get going, you get a little bit better and a little bit better.
2-time road course winner this season. Optimistic about this weekend for you and the team?
Yeah, I think, we need to improve it a little bit, but we'll be in the mix.
will be in the mix, is Cole Custer's final statement there before we get ready for the final round of qualifying. Take a look at the 5 from each group. So Josh Berry was fastest in Group A at a 71.3, and Ty Gibbs fastest in Group B at a 70.75. And Jeff, I mean, we think that the track a little bit faster there for Group B, but now we're going to be able to see how Group A and Group B compare, because they'll be out there for the same amount of time.
Yeah, and I'm real curious. Justin Allgaier laid that lap time down, and it was massive when he did it, but then Ty Gibbs went out there and beat him. And that was a little bit of a wake-up call. You know, Steve talked about, hey, if I'm Justin's crew chief, I'm not letting him relax right here. We got to find some speed, and everybody's going to work. Everybody's looking at data. Everybody's trying to find a way to bring a little more speed. It's going to be fun to see if Allgaier can answer that call.
Just missing out on making it into the final round of qualifying, Austin Hill in that 21 out of the car and standing by with Kim.
And Austin just missing that round. What did you need?
Well, I mean, we were really good in practice, and I was complaining about just being too free everywhere in practice, didn't have rear grip, and then we all just made the ultimate decision to make an adjustment, and it just didn't work in qualifying, so really frustrated right now. Just trying to think of what I could have done different, but we were just super tight after that adjustment. Front end just wasn't working the way I would like, so hopefully we can get it back close to how we had it in practice. The adjustments we made, we're not allowed to make that adjustment after qualifying. So we're a little bit in a box, but I know that everybody at RCR is working really hard, so we'll make our Bennett Chevrolet better and see if we can't get up there. We'll see.
I know you can't do what you want to the car before the race, but just you mentally, what do you do in the time before the race this afternoon to prepare yourself and try and make yourself better?
Yeah, I mean, I'll probably go back and look at SMT to see what I could have done better as a driver. I'm sure that I could have done better in the brake zones, and there's areas I, could have done a better job, and just see where we're getting beat right now. But yeah, other than that, just keep a clear mindset, and it's a long race, 82 laps, so we just got to be there at the end, and I think if we do that, we'll have a shot at it.
NASCAR Xfinity Series points leader Austin Hill during that qualifying and practice session just battling a very tight race car.
And today and tomorrow, we are enjoying the opportunity to call this radio style. And by that, we have brought in a radio professional. And Mike Bagley, he always joins the team from MRN and Sirius XM. He's in the S's. Then Dale Jr. will be out in between the inner loop and the carousel. He'll call him through that turn and hand off to Jeff Burton, who has turn 6 and that final turn 7 as they come onto the front stretch in front of Steve and myself here at the start-finish line. Continuing on today, it's Cup Series practice and qualifying on USA at 12:30. Dale Jr. download with Chip Ganassi at 2:30. Countdown to green and Xfinity Series racing. It all starts at 3 o'clock today. And then tomorrow, it's the Cup Series turn. Take on the Glen. And that will get underway at 2:30 once again on USA. Jeff, you were out there in the elements. I see a lot of campers, a lot of tailgating. What an opportunity for fans to come and get so up close and personal with the sport.
And a lot of jackets. It's chilly out there, but it's a great crowd. This place is packed. The infield is a lot of people in here. They're partying, having a good time, riding over there. People cheering, playing games. It's just a fun time to be at Watkins Glen. Every time we come up here, guys, it's like that. It's just they party. They love the racing. There's concerts. There's music. There's food. It's just a great time.
Steve, we mentioned the left rear tire of Sam Mayer and the lettering off of it. I'm wondering exactly where that was. Thought it might be turn 7.
Well, he's been getting his money's worth all day long. He had a spin in practice, no harm, no foul, kind of finding the limits on the carousel. And then right here at top of the screen, you see, oh, that's just a little kiss. He'll tell you pre-soft wall he had another 2 feet. So just a little bit of contact on the left rear, and then much the same as practice. The big difference this time, he saved it. I'm not sure how he saves it. It was a heck of a slide, and he did it. and it looks great. And now here he sits on pit road. He was second fastest in Group A. Now he's part of the 10. You look at the left front of those cars you see right there. Those are fans. So what the teams are allowed to do, those fans have magnets. They magnet to the steel wheel, and they just blow air through the wheel. The idea is to get heat kind of out of everything. You get a little heat out of the brakes, but you also get a lot of heat out of the tire this way. Instead of blowing like on the surface of the tire, it cools pretty quick. You try to get the wheel to cool down to cool the air inside the tire.
Yeah, these teams, they're pretty innovative how they build these components. Every little thing matters, you know, when you're trying to sit on the pole, getting that heat out of those tires. So important to make them have maximum grip when you go back on a racetrack.
And with those fans, Steve, the rules are so that Group A doesn't have an advantage over Group B. They can't put those on until Group B is done, correct?
So Group A has to just sit there. Let everything.
They do cool down a little bit on their own, but
I think they might get warmer.
Oh, really?
Actually, when you stop on pit road, everything heat soaks.
Okay.
The brakes might cool a little bit because they're so hot, but like everything under the hood, it just gets, as Jeff can say, hey, Jeff, from the driver's seat, it gets warmer when you stop on pit road than when you're rolling.
Drivers hate red flags. You know, like when you get a red flag during the race, sitting in the race car, it gets just so hot in there. And then if you go test, like if you spend 8 hours at a racetrack testing, you sit in that car all day, it is so hot in there.
We saw Sheldon Creed just moments ago standing by their pit box, and he's right now right there at the bubble area. A guy who doesn't have to worry about the bubble, John Hunter Nemechek, very fast as far as every other racetrack, but didn't make it into the top 10 here, standing by with Kim.
Yeah, not quite enough to make it to round 2. So if you had your laps back, what could or should you have done differently?
I lost all my time in the bus stop. I guess I got to get better through there. All these guys have been working hard at Joe Gibbs Racing. I feel like my weak point, or our weak point as a team, has been road courses so far this year. We've had speed, just haven't been able to execute and finish how we needed to. So different mindset coming in here to Watkins Glen. These JGR boys, 20 boys, brought really fast Toyota GR Supra with Mobil 1 colors on it this weekend. So it's as fast as Xfinity 10G. Driver isn't quite there yet. So go back and study a little bit. See how this final round shapes up, and just got to get better in the best stop. That's pretty much it.
We've seen this regular season points battle go back and forth between you and Austin Hill. You guys will start near each other. Is it a situation where you have to pay attention to what he does, or do you still race your own race with 4 races to go in the regular season?
I think that we race our own race. I'm not too concerned about where Austin is or whatever it may be. We're focused on winning races. If we can win the regular season championship, great. But at the same time, it doesn't gain you all that much to win the regular season championship. So I'd rather win 3 races instead of winning the regular season championship and finishing second. So whatever it may be, we're here to win everything, but our goal is to go out and try and win races every single week these last 4 weeks.
So what needs to happen between now and the race to set yourself up to win it?
Driver needs to get better, play the right strategy, stay on top of adjustments all day, and overall just have a really solid day. If we can finish a road course race where we feel like we should be in pretty good shape.
For what it's worth, Austin Hill, I talked to him, he said you guys were evenly matched here.
I mean, I think so. We both have a couple races under our belt here, so I would say experience level is pretty close. We ran almost the same lap time. We've been around each other the whole time. It's funny how that works.
Yeah, should be fun.
And while that's important, Austin Hill and John Hunter Nemechek are only separated by 11 points in the regular season. You take a look at the comparison of these two on road courses. And by the way, this is a rarity. John Hunter Nemechek, for the first time in 2023, didn't make it into the top 10 as far as qualifying on a road course. So it's the first time this has happened. But you see the comparison between the two. Austin Hill, the upper hand, definitely on top 5 and top 10 finishes.
I like the honesty. What do you have to do between now and the race? Well, I better go do my homework, figure out how I can be a little better. It's all about information, right? He can't change the connection to his hands and feet. You know, he's giving all he can as a race car driver. It's more about information. Would you say, Jeff, of, hey, you think it's corner 1, it's really the bus stop, or you think you're in too shallow, you really, you know, what are we seeing? I mean, that's the team aspect, is feed John Hunter the information to at least give him a goal of what to do better, not just say, you know, hey, go do better.
Yeah, and teammate Sammy Smith and Ty Gibbs both in the top 10. So he knows the equipment is capable. And that, by the way, gives him an opportunity to go study someone in the same equipment. Like, it's one thing to say, hey, let's go figure out what Cole Custer's doing. Guess what? He's driving completely different stuff. You don't know what he's got, but you know what's in the other two cars, and that's the most meaningful information.
All right, well, you wanted to see, what did Allgaier use the time after that so impressive 1:10.7 from the first run he made. We'll see if he can back it up. Remember, he's on his lap now because the alternate start-finish line. If he did touch it, we're going to call it just a little kiss right there.
He shoots it all the racetrack.
Gets down to turn 1. I didn't see a lot of right front lockup.
Car looks smooth. Look, the car's not moving around. It's not, moving left to right. It just looks like it drives so well. Well, sorry, I jinxed you.
Oh, boy.
A little slide there.
Something Rick Allen would do to him.
No, it's not true. Through the S's for Allgaier, up the hill, down the backstretch.
What I like about this car, Jeff, is watch when it goes over the curbs, it settles very quickly, right? So he goes over, but it lands, and it lands and it's settled. It doesn't bounce its way into the inner loop. I think that helps Justin have confidence to turn back left.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see what this lap is. That slide in turn 2, heading up that inner loop, heading up the S's. How much did that hurt the speed? And if it did hurt it all the way down the back straightaway. Let's see what it did. A 1:10.8.
So a little slower than his lap in first round. Now the only one in Watkins Glen that has run anywhere near that fast was Ty Gibbs at a 10:75.
A couple guys already have run laps. Sammy Smith, Josh Berry. Now Bowman with a better lap there of 70.71.
Yeah, I think there's more out there. I think that Allgaier missed 2 and 3. So I do think there's an opportunity. We saw it with Bowman. Who else can find a way?
Custer's on the clock now. There's Kyle Busch, again behind the wheel of the 10.
Back to that tire conversation, Allgaier and Bowman only ran one timed lap in that first session. And here they are 1-2. Barry was the same one timed lap. Now we're not sure if it's a heat cycle or laps on tires take anything out of them. I bring that up because Ty Gibbs, who was fastest, ran a couple time laps, 3 total.
Busch only 1 lap on his tires, but definitely not the pace that we are anticipating out of him as he gets ready to head up the S's.
No, I think Colleague in general is really trying to evaluate this program. I mean, A.J. Allmendinger, I think, can make you look really good, and it can cover up some weaknesses. I mean, he's so good at the road courses, and I think, this will be a great evaluation of a different driver in this 10 car.
And in some ways that can work against you, Steve. Like, you get accustomed to building your program around a driver, right? And why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you build a program around, around A.J. Allmendinger? But not everybody drives the same stuff. And so, that success drives the setups. It drives the philosophy. Kyle Busch coming in here, we know how good of a road racer he is, but how does that work for him? And that assessment will be very interesting on Monday when they get together as a team and talk about it. Hey, I didn't like this. I didn't like this. I did like this. It may be different than what A.J. Allmendinger says.
Well, I'll say visually, this 10 car versus the 17 and the 7 through the bus stop, they are nowhere near the same platforms. The 17 and the 7 cars stay relatively flat. There's still some body roll. They settle, but watch this car. See, it bounces, it rebounds back up, it loads again, and then it hikes. I mean, the left front tire is completely off the ground there. It looks a little softer in the back, a little less control overall, asking this car to bounce more. All of those things are by design. Like, that's not a miss, right? That's what do you prioritize. So if you said, hey, I got a little softer spring, I got a little less shock control, that tells me that they want tire life to kind of last. It doesn't abuse the tires. It lets them do their thing. If you look at the 17 and the 7, those cars look like they have a little bit more control of the tires, which can abuse them more, but can give the driver a little bit more control or feedback. Listen, we got to run 82-lap race. This is only qualifying. We'll see which decision was right later today.
So if you're the crew chief of Sam Mayer, I got to know, Like, you've seen your guy spin. You've seen him hit the wall. You've seen him almost spin again. Now he's going for the pole. What have you told him as he's going out here?
So I'm going to encourage him to go for the pole and make a mistake if that's what happens. I think this is all part of grooming a young race car driver. He's won a race. He's in the playoffs. I think this is one you kind of let him go be Sam Mayer, right? Go see how much he has matured. See if he can find the limit, I guess, on his own.
He said the heavy weight was lifted when he was able to get to victory lane at Road America, get his first Xfinity Series win.
I say all that because Dale's not up here. I don't know if Dale would love the fact that I'm like, oh, well, if you hit something, you hit something.
Yeah, team owner probably would frown upon maybe that advice, as we see Mayer a half a second off of what Bowman has run.
There's only one way to learn, guys, and that's it. You know, you got to attack, and you can't be afraid of making mistakes. Now, too many mistakes is too many, and it gets you in trouble. But, you know, right on the edge of grip is that's where the fun is, and that's where the success is. And if you're going to be there, you're going to make mistakes from time to time.
I can't imagine growing up under this kind of spotlight, too. I mean, think of how much, Rick, you and I, you know, from 18 to 30, what you learn in your life, and he's having to do it behind the wheel.
Another one that has to experience that as well. Here's Ty Gibbs, Xfinity Series champion.
So he entered back in the bus stop about 2/10 off, and
look at this.
And he got it done. He did a great job, the bus stop and this carousel.
This is a big lap. Could it be a new track record? 54. He is 1/1000th of a second away from the track record there with that 54.9.
Oh,
54.8.
Wow. Riley Herbst 10th. That's important because that battle between he and Parker Kligerman, Parker's going to start around 16th-ish. So Riley, you know, not that far in front of him, and that's really what that is. That's a point battle between the 98, 48, and also the 2 of Creed. So they're all going to start very close to each other.
Steve, are you done? 2 minutes still to go, but everybody's put their lap out. Oh, Allgaier looks like he might try.
Yeah, no, if you're Gibbs, you're done. But if you've been on pit road for some time like Allgaier, you got a minute 42 to get to the alternate start-finish line, which is exit of the carousel down that straightaway. More than enough time to kind of cruise around here about 80%. I would think he's going to have to, if you're somebody else, you'd have to be rolling off pit road now. So it looks like Allgaier is going to have the track to himself.
I wouldn't count him out. There's more left. I thought he missed turn 2. I don't think he got up through the S's as well as he needs to, and he knows that. Now he has a chance to adjust, make a change, and we haven't seen tires matter. We haven't seen that going out later is going to harm this speed. So I think Justin's got a real shot.
Track all to himself. He knows he's starting at least 3rd. Can he find 10th and a half or so to beat Bowman? He needs roughly 3/10 to beat Gibbs. Came to the green pretty good, Jeff. I mean, he has almost a 10th right here heading into turn 7.
Yeah, and he's building on it. Got off a 7 really not quite as well. See it losing a little bit. Turn 1, you got to carry a lot of speed in here. Just can't overshoot it. Get the right sides right on that curve. Go to the throttle quick.
Well, let's remember that Gibbs made a lot of his time up in the carousel. So that tells me if you're Allgaier, you want to have some speed into the carousel.
Yeah,
lost it there.
He did, but he checked his speed up getting into turn 2 so that he could roll 3 and 4 better. That's where he lost it last time. That was the correction that he made.
He's going the right direction. We'll see how he does in the bus stop.
Great entry speed, gains time, but this is where the 19 excelled. Can he chase this carousel in a positive manner?
He was 0.2 of a second off entering it, and it's not going the right direction.
Man, that 19 is just so good through the carousel.
And so Allgaier, with his 70.86, is going to hang on to that lap. And Gibbs is the fastest. He has won the pole 7th time. He has won the pole in the Xfinity Series in just his 59th start. Remember, only 20 years old. Steve, you mentioned growing up in the spotlight. That's what we've seen out of Ty Gibbs, grandson to Coach Gibbs. And now he'll take a look at that data as well. Kim.
And he ends last week's NASCAR Xfinity Series race P1. He'll start this week's NASCAR Xfinity Series P1. Wow, how'd you do it?
Yeah, I feel like we've got a really fast seat, gets us Toyota Supra. Thank you to everybody at Jacobs Racing, my crew chief Jason Ratcliffe. Thank you to everybody at Toyota. So I think we're really fast. Just got to put it together in the race.
As you look at putting together the race, what are the things that stand out to you that you can improve on out on the racetrack?
Going from, back and forth with different cars, it definitely helps, but more seat time's really important, I think, for me right now. So this is good for me to get out here and do this, and thank you to he gets us and Toyota and Monster Energy, everybody over there. So I appreciate all them.
Ty Gibbs will lead the field to green in the NASCAR Xfinity Series as he gets ready for Cup Series practice and qualifying.
Yeah, full day for Ty Gibbs. Again, he was behind the wheel for practice and qualifying Xfinity Series. He'll be behind the wheel for Cup Series practice and qualifying. We take a look now at the starting grid for this afternoon's race, and it's Toyota, Chevrolet, Ford in 2 rows. Justin Allgaier and Cole Custer making up row 2.
You see right there, Sammy Smith, Riley Herbst. And then the guys that didn't make that final round, Austin Hill, John Hunter Nemechek, Parker Kligerman right there will be in row 7. That points battle will happen right away.
And did you notice those 2 rows? You had the top 2 in points for the season, and you had the 2 guys fighting for that last playoff spot lining up next to each other.
Sage Karam back there in row 11 had such a great run. Road America trying to duplicate that. Stephen Parsons in row 12. There's Jeb right there in row 13 next to Ryan Sieg.
Max McLaughlin and Brennan Poole in row 16, and then back to Kyle Sieg and Stanton Barrett rounding out the field of 38. Continuing on with today's coverage on USA, it's Cup Series practice and qualifying at 12:30 in the Dale Jr. download, followed by Countdown to Green as we get ready for the final road course of the regular season for the Xfinity Series. That's at 3 o'clock. And tomorrow, Countdown to Green from the Glen for the Cup Series, and kicks us off at 2:30. All right, Steve, you want to make any predictions as we get ready for Cup practice coming up? How about this Xfinity Series race later?
Well, the Xfinity Series race is going to be great, right? Ty Gibbs won a week ago. He's come back, and he's been the fastest car so far, but I think Allgaier made big gains. They're just not going to hand him the trophy. It's going to be a battle.
And you can't ever count out a Cup driver like Bowman or the winningest driver in the Xfinity Series, Kyle Busch, also in the field. Again, thanks for joining us. We'll be back.